Hello everybody, it's Holden again, and I'm going to go over what you need to know for homework 2. Keep in mind I'm going to be going over everything in roughly the order that it will appear on the second homework. Okay, so the first thing over which I need to go is how to import data. File, import dataset. And there are two options you'll use in this class, from text reader or from Excel. Which one of these you use depends on the type of the file, as I'll show you. If the file type is a .csv, or if under type here it appears Microsoft Excel comma separated values file, you'll use from text reader. If it appears Microsoft Excel worksheet, that means it's an Excel file and you can just import it using from Excel. So next, name your data something descriptive. I'll just use data for the purposes of this example, but you'll need to, if you have multiple data sets, you can't name them all data, so you should name it something that explains the data. Next, uncheck first row as names if what appears right here where the 21 is a number. If it were the title of a category, then you'd leave it. But the way it is now, if you leave first row as names checked, 21 will not be included in the calculations and will distort your computations. So uncheck first row as names, import the data. Now that it's imported, I will first show you how to do a histogram. Hist data, the column you want to use, and run it. This is, as you can see, it made a basic histogram. Unfortunately, the way my stat lab generates the histograms is a bit different. They're using different numbers on the x-axis, and thus the data is sorted differently. So if you want to fix this issue, as you'll have to do for the homework, do hist data, the column you want to use, breaks equal C 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. As you'll see, these are the numbers that will appear on the x-axis, comma, include dot lowest equals false, and right equals false. Okay, as you can see, these are the breaks that we decided to put in. We could also change this to 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You'll have to do that on one of the questions. But the most important part is you can run each and they look different. Again, it's the same data. This is just because you're telling R to sort it slightly differently. Okay, next I'll go over how to make a stem and leaf plot. To do this, you do stem data. So remember, for a lot of plotting, you'll type in the same thing. You'll only change the function you're using. And the stem and leaf plot appears down here. It doesn't appear in the plot section, so keep that in mind. I'll go over a few simple functions now that are very helpful. Mean, median. Again, these just give you the mean and median. Pretty self-explanatory. Next, a very useful one is 5num. So obviously this is going to return 5 numbers. This is the minimum, first quarter, median, third quarter, and max. If you ever forget what these numbers are, type question mark 5num to bring up, again, bring any question mark and then a function, and it will tell you what the function does. For example, you could see what a histogram does as well, and it would tell you. Okay, so question mark 5num, and it will tell you what the 5 numbers are. Okay, now standard deviation, min, max. If you want to write all these down, you can pause the video and make sure you have all the simple functions so you can add them to your exam sheet or your notes. Okay, now for z-score. To get the z-score, you probably already know from class, but I'm going to tell you the format that you need to put it in for R. So your number that you're doing minus mean divided by standard deviation. So it's very important to have these parentheses. R follows PEMDAS, so if you have a number minus mean divided by standard deviation, it might be different than if you have, then you want to do the parentheses because it does this first and then divides by standard deviation, whereas this will divide the mean by the standard deviation first and then subtract it from the number. Okay, so for example, 10 minus 5 divided by 2, and then 10 minus 5 divided by 2. Very different. So remember to use parentheses. And I'll add a little comment showing that this is the t-score. Okay. So next I'll go over box plot data. It will appear here. And the last one is probably the most complicated one for homework 2. It's not very difficult, but pay attention to learn how. I'm going to import a different data set from Excel. Time series data. Okay. I'll just name it TSD for time series data. And on this one, you're going to leave first row as names checked because it has year and number. Year and number, we don't want those to be in the calculation, so that's why we leave error. If they're names of categories, always leave first row as names checked. Import the data. Okay, so what you'll use is plot x, y, type equals L. Okay, that's the basic format you'll use. So for this example, I'll use okay, and we have the year and numbers for each year. So I hope that helped. Please email me if you have any questions or you are having trouble with any of this. And I hope this was helpful.